It's that time. Welcome to Roadmap, how to take 3 listings a week until you're ready for more. Each week, we interview a great agent who's consistently taking several listings each week, and we have an exciting guest today. We encourage you to take notes as quickly as you can, and then use the copycat principle. Hopefully, you're watching on either Vulcan 7 or we simulcast on the Lead Gen Facebook group. So we have a large audience there again today as well. So they have 51,000 members. We're going to be pausing for a commercial message during the show as a thank you to the Lead Gen folks. Let's welcome our guest today from Westchester, New York, Mr. Aaron Wittenstein.
What's up, everybody?
Not there yet, Miss Aaron, or are you chipping icicles away?
No, man, we've got like 50 degrees today, which is really, really nice. So, and then we're going to get 65 on Friday, yet it's going to be thunderstorms. So
there we go. Well, it could have been snow. Could have been snow. You know, one of the things we're trying to help our audience, and you've got, you know, with the 51,000 people you have that are involved with you, you know, it's the same message. You know what's coming. I know what's coming. And I wanted to get your thoughts on it. We've got, as soon as we hit the last week of April, all these agents, their listings went under contract. They got all these homeless buyers. They, you know, all of a sudden things started closing at the end of April. In the month of May, closing. Homeless buyer. They have no time to look for new business. But the public, April, May, June, they're like, here I am. I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to sell. Come. And they can't find an agent because the agents say, I can't handle the business I have now. How do we help people? I mean, they're going to lose $30,000, $50,000, $80,000, $100,000 April, May, June. They're going to lose that money because they can't handle the capacity. What say you?
How do you do that? So 2 things pop into mind is, let's say at one point in your career, you're able to handle 1 transaction. That's all you can handle. All you can handle is 1. All right. And then suddenly 2 more transactions get popped on your belt, which means you're at 3 transactions. So it's kind of like that rubber band effect where, you know, you start off there, and the more that you get, the more of an ability you have to grow, which means the more you can handle. So eventually it's like, but then what happens is the busier that you get, the more help you need to have. So whether that's hiring an operations manager, whether that's hiring a buyer specialist, you know, shifting your buyer's leads off to another agent, it's just figuring out how to manage that all. Like, for example, what I realized, 5 years ago, is that buyers take up the most amount of time. They do. You could probably sell 5 listings within the amount of time it takes to work with one buyer. Sorry to find my camera there. So what my main suggestion is become a listing heavy business, because you could go on vacation. I'm going to Disney World. You go to Disney World, you could sell 3 listings. So, you know, you will be able to gain more business. You just will. You can handle it. The more you get, the more you can handle.
But the more listings you sell, the more immediate homeless buyer, A+ buyers you create. What do you do with those?
Well, what I did when I didn't have any help was I found the top producing team in the office, all right, and I made a deal with them. I said, I'm going to charge you X, which is a little bit more than normal referral fee, and they handled all of my buyers. That was until I started formulating a team, because you got to start somewhere, you know, and, you know, you got to hire administrative end first, you know, to help you out, because once you have, you know, administrative, you know, and you can start building a bit more, and then you bring your buyer specialist on board so you don't lose that extra 20, 30%.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. So they, you know, they've got to, knowing it's going to happen, they have to be prepared. They can't get to where they just, you know, on April 20th, stop looking for new business until October. They just can't, you know, yet they do. They do every year. They do. But it's so easy to get, think about it. May 15th, can you walk down the street and find a buyer or a seller in 2 seconds?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. But they're not going to do it. So we've got to help them hire somebody part-time, get 2 other agents that don't do that much in the office to all share an assistant. Find somebody that is really good with buyers and work out a little arrangement on what to pay them and work out a little pact, or maybe 2 of them, because if they're listing a lot of property, they're probably going to need 2, you know? Somebody that's really good on the buy side, because like you said, buyers take time.
And it's just being smart about it. You got to follow the model, bring in the way you got to bring stuff in. I remember the first thing I did is I had a transaction manager because I really couldn't afford anybody, full time. So they charged me $200-300 a pop per transaction. That helped get some of the listing stuff, the listing uploading, the green sheets, all that stuff off my plate. So, I don't know any companies off the top of my head, but there are some phenomenal companies out there that do transaction management.
Right, in-house and out, and outside. In every market, there are people that all they do is handle your pen to close for your market. And I heard an interesting one I'd never heard before. In fact, her, my co-host who's on several of these shows, Carly Hathaway. One of the things she did was she would pay her. She made a deal with the transaction coordinator. I'll pay you double. So if it's like $300 or $350 per closing, I'll pay you $700, but you handle everything, troubleshoot it, everything, not just the basics, because the transaction coordinator doesn't really get involved in troubleshooting usually. But she made a deal, said, I'll pay you double, and you take care of all the problems related to it too. Because then, if we can keep listing, reeling, pulling those fish in, let somebody else fillet them and cook them and fry them and sell them.
It's just getting the busy work off your plate. That's the major thing. Because when you're trying to do every single role in your business, and it becomes a challenge. It really does. And you can keep that going. Let's say you're doing 1-2 transactions a month. There's probably a possibility of doing that. Yeah. But once you start extending yourself out, is when you find yourself working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, and you're uploading listings at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when you have a problem.
Yeah, well, it can be a pleasant problem if you don't have time to upload all the listings you brought in.
I like my sleep too much.
I love that problem. What else should they be paying attention to going into spring?
Well, I just think part of it where people really fail is the consistent aspect of lead generation. I talk about this a lot, is that every single day you need to be doing something for 2 to 3 hours a day. Like for me right now, it's been a challenge. The market's changing. I can go 2, 3, 4 days without getting an appointment, which is not abnormal. Saturday I was lucky enough where I set 3. But it's the consistent work is that I know no matter how much I struggle, how much that I'm not getting what I need. You know what I mean? I got to put food on the table. Is that eventually it has to pop. The consistency just has to work. And where people don't do it is they get busy. They get set up with appraisals and home inspections and summertime and all that kind of stuff. And they wind up, in essence, they quit for that 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, they tell themselves a story. They'll set up a meeting at 9 a.m. or an appraisal at 9 a.m. or something else at 9 a.m. Should they even be allowed to set any kind of meeting at 9 a.m. ever?
No, and I mean, the reason that I look at it is that, how can I put it? Like, people wonder, why do you do your lead generation first thing in the morning, what you do between 8 and 11, is because the day hasn't beat my ass yet. By the time 1 to 2 o'clock, I don't want to sit here and talk to people. That's the last thing I want to do. But, 8 to 11, you're in a point where, how can I put it, where it's like you got your most amount of energy. Right. You've got your most amount of resolve. The day hasn't plugged in blah, 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 in your mind. So that's why I suggest 8 to 11. If you can't do 8 to 11, do 9 to 12, do 9 to 11, do something.
Right, and I hear you, and I think it speaks volumes because there are people that are going to say, "Well, when do you lead generate?" Whenever I can fit it in. I don't think that works. It has to be from the time you get up until you return calls and go to lunch. You do it in that time frame, or else it's just not going to happen. You're going to get busy, and you're never going to fit it in.
Exactly. And it's
some people talk about how you step on yourself. If you lead generate late in the day, that's actually the time you're supposed to be meeting with people later on in the day.
Yep.
So you end up stepping on yourself.
Yeah. So it's just get it out of the way first thing in the morning. It's the most efficient time to do it. It'll take it's a habit. It's going to take a while to get that rolling, up and going, but do that and then let the rest of the day fall where it may.
So is this a good year for you?
The last 2 years have been phenomenal. This year, full transparency, it is not starting off the way that I want it to at all. I just think the market is changing, and I'm learning that I need to change with it. And I struggled doing that like probably the fourth quarter of last year. So I'm feeling it right now. The God's honest truth, you're getting the expires that aren't answering the phone anymore. The for sale by owners are selling, which is, a change in the market. I'll be okay. I'm not worried about it. I just anticipate my second and third quarter to be a hell of a lot stronger than my first quarter was.
And historically, unless you're in a resort market, that is the case. Your second quarter is like twice as big as the first.
Yeah, and I sold a lot. I had a bunch of inventory that floated from last year in January, where I sold 12 or 13 listings within a span of like 6 weeks, which is awesome. Yet what I'm looking at right now is my inventory is low. I got extremely low inventory right now, and my challenge has been getting the new inventory, because if you don't have the inventory, you're going to feel it in 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. You got to build it up. Let me try a different tact. We see 2 camps of agents out there. One that call their database and just sort of, hi, just checking in, call to say hi, blah, blah. But they don't get that much business from it. And then other agents that call their database and seem to get a lot of business from their database. What's going on there? Why does one group fail so miserably and another group do so well with the database? What are some techniques that they can use to make it not just a check-in call, but a call to help them or their friends or people they know to get that business?
Well, for me, I'm not the strongest database person in the world. Okay, so I don't know if I'm the correct person to be answering this question. I know you're probably for me. I've been here for about 5 years. We had my twins 2 years in, and we didn't really sleep much, and I didn't really have the opportunity to build that much of a sphere out here. I'm slowly but surely starting to build that. So I don't have people in my sphere. Like if I was back in Illinois, hell, the last year I was there, I got 17 Facebook referrals from there. I'm just not, I haven't built that up yet. It's going to take time.
I forgot that's a newer market for you.
Yeah, which is fine.
2 markets.
Yeah, which is fine. And then, my past clients is I've really, really, really dropped the ball. And, from everything I'm seeing right now is that's where the market is shifting to, is past clients and, database and all that, which is why everything, even this conversation, is shifting me over to, all right, let's start working on it. Let's start working on it. Let's start working on it. Because I need to find a happy medium between that and the cold calling.
Well, you like me, that for sale by owner is 90% now business, 10% future business. When you're talking to your database, that flips. 10% now business. And we know some people do really well with it. But, and folks, if you're looking at his greatest strength, it's obvious what your greatest strength is energy, enthusiasm. You're passionate, you're excited, and that attracts people to want to do business with you. So
that's too sweet.
So to check in with you on that. So how do they fake it till they make it? Have you always been this way, Aaron, or were you like shy until 2 years ago, or?
No, I've been cold calling since I was like 16 years old. So I'm like 20 years in right now. Okay. I've done it forever. I don't know any different. But what I will tell you is the sheer frustration of everything going on over the last couple of months has really taken its toll on me. And sometimes it's hard which is abnormal for me. I'm usually, let's get it going, rock, let's get it going. And over the last, I want to say, month to 6 weeks, it's been a challenge for me because I've been, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this, I've been rejected so much to a point where it's like I'm concerned about calling people that I think are slam dunk leads because I'm afraid they've already listed. They're going to tell me to go myself, and it's odd for me even saying that, knowing.
So how do you handle rejection? Because if you're struggling with it a little bit, and our audience has an even a tougher time with it than you would.
I have some weird, odd faith that it's all going to be okay.
Well, and it is. We've seen late starting years before.
Yeah. And it's just, it has to, because I'm working way too flippin' hard.
Yeah.
For this not to, like, I'm in here every day, 3 to 4 hours a day. I've had my fair, I don't even want to say my fair share. I've had an excessive share of things that didn't work out according to plan. And it's just been like a revolving 6 months, of this going on. So eventually it turns. And one of my favorites, I'm going to read it because I can't remember it. Pain is temporary and may last for a minute, 1 hour, or even a year. Eventually it will subside. Something will take its place. However, if I quit, it will last forever.
I love it. I love it. So because I think it's just a late starting year. And one of the things I'm excited about is like, could the market possibly slow down just a little bit? And when you look at that, you know, it's a gift to us. They need our services at a higher level. A for sale owner is not selling. A listing expired. You know, if it will just slow down just a little bit more, it's a huge gift.
Yeah.
Because a lot, if it stays overheated for too long, then the public goes, well, we don't need an agent. You know, they don't do anything. But if it slows down a little bit, they surely need us.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
a higher level.
It's just odd. I mean, what's going on? The expireds are relisting with the same agent, which it blows my mind why someone would be that stupid. It's just so stupid.
Isn't that yes.
It's just, I don't get it. Like there's two things I don't understand. Why you would relist with the same agent. I get like combative. I try not to get combative on the phone, but I almost want to be like, are you stupid? And then for sale by owners that don't answer the phone. That one blows my mind as well. So those are the two.
How does that work?
Or they're like, I can't talk right now. Can you call me at 7 o'clock at night? I'm like, no. What if I want to buy your house right now and see it right now? How do you expect to do that?
I know that's hilarious. It is hilarious that they do that. That's a hoot. So what is your strongest point for someone who's thinking about going back with their prior agent? What do you observe what observation do you make to them?
I don't get that far in the phone call because I typically just hang up on them before I say something stupid. But if someone says what I've actually found, I've never found anything that works. I figure you can't fix stupid is the best way to put it. Mm-hmm. Yet what I'll be like, they're like, we're going to list with our former agent. Be like, really? And then they say something stupid. And I'm like, why? And they say something more stupid. And then you say, you know what? I don't get it. And then they say something. So I go with those three questions just to see if there's any way to dive into that. But
well, apparently it works for you because you're hugely successful.
Yeah, but it's like with those lately, it's hard to fix them. And that's the challenge I'm running into. And I'd rather push on to somebody else that I have an opportunity with rather than try and fix in someone's idiotic.
So you use the 4-letter word next, huh?
Exactly.
Okay, good. So folks, one of the neat things is you can go online and watch Aaron Prospect Live. Isn't that the case? You do that every week, don't you?
Yeah, like once a week right now is roughly what I do it.
Right. So if you go to facebook.com/groups/got objections and sign up, it's a closed group, right? Mm-hmm. But everybody in that group is all about lead generation, best techniques, what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and there's so much sharing. 51,000 people in your group, right? Mm-hmm. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, 51,356.
Yeah, that's a great neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood.
Yeah.
So if you are building your business, you want to be involved in the group is called LGSO, Lead Gen Scripts and Objections. So facebook.com/groups/got objections and say, please may I join? And then he will say yes and have some fun, right?
Yeah, I'll say yes.
Now you have a program called Trajectory Now.
Yeah, it's
you can join that and get involved even at a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Group coaching program we do. We do daily group prospecting. We do a digital boiler room on Friday. We have phone calls every Tuesday between 1 and 2:15 Eastern time.
Show.
I know we started like so go watch. I can't even point my fingers that way. Go watch them, and then we record it just in case. So
you can watch it on replay. So you can watch. They can go watch it right now, right? They can watch it last week's right now. Good.
We got everything archived.
Good. Well, this has been a treat. This helps. We want, there's just a lot of people that are going to leave so much money on the table, April, May, June. If they can think about that ahead of time, what do I need to do to be able to handle 8 transactions a month or 12 transactions a month? They need to start mapping that out now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. And even for me, I get 4. I'm in a $500,000 average, $500,000-$600,000 market with a lot of competition and, a high price point, a lot of houses. I sell 4 houses a month, 48 houses a year.
I know, but your 48 is like 198 based on the price point.
And attorneys just make it all like the equivalent of 3 transactions. So believe me, I work hard for my money. So you better treat me right.
There's New York for you. Yeah. They do that. That is a kind thing they do. Yes.
So
so much. This is going to help a lot, and I hope we get a lot of people that jump into your group, and maybe even interject into. It's trajectorynow.com. Is that right?
That is correct, sir.
The other group. Good. Perfect. Good. Well, thank you again for helping, and we'll see you. I'll see you offline.
Awesome. All right, Ren. Thanks so much for having me, brother.
Thanks, Aaron.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Bye-bye. What an exciting show. If you're watching on the Vulcan 7 network and you want to get involved with the Lead Gen Facebook group, as we mentioned earlier in the show, they're at facebook.com/groups/got objections. And Aaron Wittenstein, who was our guest today, is a great give back guy and runs a great program called trajectorynow.com. And finally, you've probably been wondering what his secret is for energy and enthusiasm. Well, when he's wrapping up his lead follow-up, returning calls 11:30 before he goes to lunch, he gets some delicious Graeter's mint chocolate chip. Since 1870, they've been making Graeter's mint chocolate chip. This is the one for listings. As Aaron said today, buyers take time, listings take skill. They have other flavors if you're working with buyers. If you're working with listings, you want the mint chocolate chip. If the listing is a little slow to sell, dig a hole in the front yard, bury it upside down, and that listing will sell just like that. I want to thank everybody for being here. And we'll see you next week when we have another exciting guest taking lots of listings. Remember, folks, in the late spring, April, May, June, it's coming. Be ready to handle the extra business. Get ready now. See you soon.